One of the best Bionicle sets ever, the Bahrag, the Bohrok Queens, Cahdok and Gahdok, but built better. Let's take a look at these stunning LEGO creations, because they're some of the best of the best. Let's dive in and check out some of the incredible techniques and insanely cool inspiration behind this build. So this is a collaborative build built by Jafer as well as Andrew Steele. So Andrew built Gahdok and then Joss built Cahdok. Now back in the day in my top 10 Bionicle mocks of 2019 video, I named this collaborative build the #1 best mock of 2019. Because it was. It's so good. To me, these creations stood out for just all the right reasons. But now, in 2024, I was able to see these in person at Brickvention, and it was an absolute treat to be able to see them up close and personal. So let me share that experience with you now with some close-up photos and videos. What's always grabbed me about these builds is the way that both builders have used part spamming to absolutely nail the brilliant biomorphic designs of these creatures. I mean, just purely focusing on Cahdok for now, the way that the mock uses these Exoforce robot arms on the neck in both blue and black, it creates a neck design that fits every description of the word Bionicle. It looks biological, like something you would see on a living creature, but it also feels so mechanical and robotic at the same time. And I feel like the original set evoked this same feeling, but Andrew and Joss have used modern pieces and modern LEGO techniques to breathe life into these classic designs, and I love that. Now, sure, there's an argument to be made that the revamps lose the original charm of the classic sets. Here they are side by side so you can compare the two of them. And look, sure, they no longer have that mechanical, gappy, greebled, early Bionicle look and feel. And let's face it, the early designs of Bionicle sets, especially on these sets here, they're wonderful. So look, I can understand if you're like, I kind of missed that on these revamps. But there's nothing wrong with revamping a classic set and updating it with new pieces, or just adding your own personal spin on it. If you can bring new life or a really unique idea to something, that fresh take is almost always exciting. And I think this is indeed a very fresh and very exciting take on the characters, because I'm kind of just assuming here, but I'd argue that everything here is most likely taking inspiration from H.R. Giger. So let's look at the back of Cahdok for me to explain this. We can see here the repeated use of these dinosaur tail pieces. Here is that piece on Bricklink if you're curious and you want to look it up and buy some. But placing them like this on the back, not only does it create a great texture, but it also helps shape the back design into something that looks a lot more organic. On top of that though, it kind of gives me vibes of a xenomorph from Alien. You know, when we look at a xenomorph, it's got that rib cage and that very detailed skin. It looks very similar to the tubing that Joss has used here. And it's also similar to a lot of the other part spam that's used all over this mock. I mean, even these repeated gully claws that create a rib cage on the torso. This continues some of that aesthetic. So, you know, combining a xenomorph and the Bahrag, that's such a good idea. The style of H.R. Giger is often described as like organic forms and machines in a cold, interconnected relationship, which you can also describe as biomechanical. So, you know, it's a brilliant fit for Bionicle and a perfect fit for the Bohrok Queens. You gotta love a fresh take like this, one that not only looks cool, but has some brilliant techniques as well. And speaking of brilliant LEGO techniques, there's so many great designs all throughout these mocks. You like the eye design, for example. I adore this. The gradient that's created on this eye is just wonderfully creepy. The way they've used the kind of transition between the eye color here. It transitions from trans neon green to trans bright green into trans green. And that's just like so slick and so terrifying at the same time. Now Gahdok's eyes actually do the same thing as well, and yeah, actually let's talk a little bit about Gahdok now. I love the similarities between the head design on both of the two Bohrok Queens, but honestly, the differences are also super fun. You know, Cahdok had these large black flex tubes flaring out of the head, and I love how that looks. But Gahdok with these cool dark bluish grey horns, magnificent. Oh, and then this jaw design is so sick. I love how Andrew has taken advantage of this specific piece here. It is a modified plate with angled bar handles. So Andrew has taken advantage of the angled parts of this piece and then used it to branch off the jaw into 3 sections. And this is allowing the jaw to naturally rest at a bit of an angle. And it looks so cool, doesn't it? It makes for a more dynamic design that just looks more feral and ferocious. We can also see that same angled bar piece, but this time it's being used on the hand design. And it's great to see the unique angle that the claws rest at thanks to the unique shape of that piece. And there is something lovely about this pop of teal on these tubes down here. It's a great little accent color, isn't it? Of course, there's also purple tubes on Cahdok, so yeah, it's a really great inclusion, that little hint of extra color. But obviously, as you can see, Cahdok and Gahdok, they share very similar design choices, like the tail pieces on the back, the cool ribcage design, but I love this thigh design. This one's a little bit different to Cahdok. Gahdok is using this shield piece that appeared on the front of the Axelar T9, a wonderful little set. Not really little, huge set. And then we combine that shield piece with this gunmetal Rakshi spine piece. Now this of course came on Makuta Pterodax and was used on his leg design. What a lovely combination of pieces, and that looks great for a thigh. I also really enjoyed this lower leg design here. It's very much unarmored, mechanical focused design, but it looks very nice, doesn't it? What a great vibe that Gahdok has here. So yeah, the two of these Bohrok queens together like this, they are imposing and menacing at the same time. What a brilliant sight. Jafer and Andrew did such a good job. Oh, but we can't forget to talk about these little Bohrok that go with them. So once again, I feel like we can see a bit more of a Geiger style to these Bohrok. And yeah, there's certainly a bit of a bigger departure from the original designs of the Bohrok, but you can still see that they're maintaining the rough shape and feeling. Now, once again, more of these animal tail pieces are keeping this creepy look going. And they accent that classic Bohrok head design very, very well. It's a good fit. And what's great about these little mini Bohrok is that they can indeed turn into a ball. And then the idea of giving them this sort of almost umbilical cord thing, it's wonderfully terrifying and absolutely perfect for this reimagining of these characters. Something else that's a bit of fun, we can see on this image here that the original post only had 2 of these Bohrok, but then at Brickvention, the whole gang was together. Now these additional Bohrok in the other colours, they were not built by Jafer or Andrew, they were actually brought by Magmafrost 13. I'll have a link to their social media in the description below. And I think that's such a fun community-focused thing to do. Bring along some additions to a display that just perfectly fit with the original design and display. And now the setup is totally complete. Yeah, I just really like that. Magmafrost is very kind to do that there. But yeah, it's really fun to see the full lineup of Bohrok with their predominantly black color scheme, but then hints of their signature color. It's cool. Yeah, everything about this collab, it's just brilliant. It honors the original toys by giving them a new and exciting take, and they just look so menacing and so sinister. Now sure, it is a shame that the gear functions of the original Bahrag aren't present in these revamps, because it's honestly one of the highlights of that original set, and maybe one of the best play features that LEGO has ever made. But oh well. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice playability for looks. But yeah man, love these builds. Both the builders did such a good job. Be sure to check the links in the description below. I'll have links to all of the social media of all the builders that I mentioned in this video. So go and give them a follow, give them a like, and see more of the wonderful LEGO creations that they've made. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.